Welcome to the inner world of filmmaking. I'm your host, Tammy Magaro. I'm an editor, podcaster, and still photographer. In this show, I will interview filmmakers in all facets of production and distribution. I'm so excited to introduce writer-director Maria Gabriela Cardenas, who has just completed her directorial debut, A Dark Foe, a psychological thriller. Welcome, Maria. Happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tammy. It's a pleasure.
Well, first off, I just want to say a big congratulations, on your feature film, A Dark Foe. I mean, that takes a lot to put, to write it, to then produce it, direct it, complete it, and then air it. So I just wanted to say congratulations on this accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a tough time, but, we made it happen, that's the end goal in the end.
And I'm going to ask a question about that, too. So you wrote this script with your father, Oscar Cardenas, who also starred in it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the film, how you came up with the story, and how was it writing with your dad?
Well, okay, let's see where I start. So I came to Los Angeles to study film about 10 years ago, right? And from Venezuela. And my father always had this passion for film, but he didn't pursue it as a career. So when I started, learning how to do short films and how to set up a camera, I told my father, oh, you should be in my short films. Because it has been his passion all his life, and he acted in Venezuela for a while, but then he left it. So he accepted. And from there, we did several shorts. When I was doing my master's in 2018, we were it's time for a feature. We should get our hands on a feature and try to do the big thing. We were going back and forth on ideas. We both love noir films. I grew up watching noir films all my life with him, all the Hitchcock stuff. Just going back and forth, we wanted to do something with a phobia, and it just started, bouncing back and forth. And he still lives in Venezuela, so it was FaceTime all the time before before the pandemic thing that is now a thing. We were doing it then. And yeah, my dynamic working with him is really good because I think we have the same taste. We love both thrillers and horrors, and we kind of have the same taste in those kind of films. So when we are writing, we have very similar points of view. And then if we don't agree with one, if someone's saying something, it's still understandable. The dynamic you would think is father and daughter, but it does not really. At least I think my dad respects me, in that way, as that when we're working, we're both artists. You know what I mean? And the same it was when I was directing him, on set. He really listened to me, and I do appreciate that, If not, I don't think we would have worked as a team.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, tell me, what is the film about?
Well, the film is about a tortured FBI agent who suffers from a condition known as nyctophobia, which is an irrational fear of the dark that was caused when he was a young boy because a serial killer murdered his mother and took his sister away. So he is going to go look for this serial killer and find justice for his family.
Wow. So it's a light film.
Yeah, very light.
You had some great talent in there, like Selma, Blair, and Greene, to name a few. How did you go about casting? How did you get those stars?
In 2015, I met a producer. Her name is Amy Williams, and I think my film wouldn't have been possible without her, because I met her and I worked for her as a PA for the feature Mothers and Daughter, and Selma was there. So I was there, just giving coffee and stuff like that, PA stuff. And then one day, one of the line producers or someone just approached me because they needed an extra, and that scene was with Selma.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I met her, and we had a really small scene together. And then years after, I approached her in 2018, I think it was. And I told her about the feature, and she read it, and she was she decided to be part of the producing team with us, And That's how we got Selma. Because first I was able to meet her, and she also worked with Amy before, the producer. So that was a good thing. And
Now,
then
what about Graham Greene?
for Grand Guignol, it was with our casting director. Our casting director, Jamie, approached with our screenplay, and he liked it, So we were lucky because with him, we were able to start pushing the project, to everyone else because he was first, then Selma.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's amazing. Oh, both of them are amazing.
Well, I love them. They're so kind, They're so kind, and they were so willing for the amount of hours, in this totally different game. And the amount of hours that you have to put in, or the crazy hours, So I was very, very, very grateful to have them both. No, that we also had like Glenn Morshower, that he did like the 24 series. He was super sweet too, and Bill Bellamy, like I was just like pinching myself every day, just being surrounded by so many talent,
Yeah. When I was looking at the names of the cast, I was like, oh my God, you have a lot of great people in there. So that, I mean, and I guess it's a little bit about who you know, and then who knows who, and, and then it all kind of comes together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Right. How many pages was your script, and then how many shooting days did you end up doing?
108 pages, but we did 28. 28 was good. It was a good time. It was still rushed, but it was good. We made it happen, and like there wasn't. We even shot stuff that didn't make the film. But it was. It felt rushed because there were some scenes that were heavily visual effects heavy, or fight stuff. Those are the ones that usually get a little bit of more time. That I wish we had a little more time, but
you can only do what you can do, right?
Exactly.
What was the biggest challenges that you had on set?
Well, for me, I would say the biggest challenges were this was my first time directing a feature, and I think that was my biggest challenge because before in my previous projects, I always worked with people I knew, so this time I was working with a lot of people that were more experienced than me. Let's say, they've been working for other features for a long time now. And, this male and female dynamic of like the toxicity, I never really experienced it until my feature. Because, I came there every day with like a huge smile on my face, like, this is my first feature. We got to make it happen no matter what. And then I have certain people in the crew where, they just looked down at me, and they were questioning me all the time by saying like, oh, why do you want to make this shot? Or why do you want to do this close-up? Like all the time, like questioning me. So I think that was the challenging part, not to care about that and just focus on my actors and the performance and get the day done and the scenes, because you want to go there and have like a happy set. Or everyone getting along with each other. But in that case, my film was not like that. So I just had to push through in that part, But overall, everyone was really great, but there were certain people, But that can really damage the energy,
It seems like it's more men doing that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would do differently now, knowing what you know, that you would then maybe think about in your next feature in hiring?
Absolutely. First, I would try to go for just coffees or lunches for a month prior, just to really get to know the person, especially like the key people, like the PAD, those kind of people, or the PD, the people that are going to be there with you 24/7, because you really want to see that they're really as passionate as you, and it's not just another job,
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I will look into that. And also, if I do my next feature, I would have backup people to fire them immediately if someone disrespects anyone, I would have a backup. Because we didn't do that. We didn't fire anyone because we had to make the film done, and finding people and stuff. It's like, okay, we can do it, but it's a huge risk, and you don't know if you want to take that huge risk, especially with a tight budget and tight schedule. So I would definitely be considering like 2 people back of my mind just in case something happens,
No, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, because I was on a set, recently, and one of the actors was a problem. And it really can pull down the atmosphere on set. And I think, it's tough when you have to, you're like day 2 of 28 days with somebody. I mean, that's going to be like, oh my God. So yeah, I totally understand. And it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that people have to be that way, because we're all this is what we love to do, and we should all be supporting each other or helping each other. I mean, if anything, I just help. Because,
Absolutely.
Working with your DP is really important as a director.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to be in union with them, hopefully, not fighting against them.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Well,
it's really disappointing, but that's we gotta learn at some point, right? So I'm happy I learned that.
Yeah.
Now, so in my next future projects, I can really try my best to get the best people that really want to make this movie the best it can be.
Exactly. Wearing the director's hat is so much responsibility. And it, a lot of it goes on you. So you do not need distractions of having to put your mind somewhere else or fighting against somebody. It just stops the time. But good for you that you just kept saying, well, we got to get the shots done. We got to keep moving forward. And
yeah.
So what did you end up editing the film on? What software?
Avid.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of curious. As an editor, I'm always like, is everybody editing?
It was good, like that's the program I least use, because that's not my expertise. As if I edit, I like more Premiere Pro or even Final Cut Pro back in the day.
Right.
But my editor was incredible. She was used to working with Avid, so I was like, sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like the premiere, right? So, yeah. I mean, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your process, going from directing short films to a feature film? And how many short films did you do before you did the feature?
Well, like good short films, I would say 2. Those were really good short films because the other ones were more like practice, just trying to come up with something, a 3-minute thing, a small scene, a mise-en-scene or stuff like that. When I was 14 years old, I came to Los Angeles to do a film program for summer because I wanted to see if, I liked it, like for real, I was very fortunate to come here, yeah. And and my little short films from that time were the worst. The other day I found them and I couldn't. Like, this is going to the garbage. Nobody will ever see this.
No, I totally get it. I mean, it takes, maybe there's somebody out there that can look at the first thing they did and go, oh my God, I was great,
exactly,
or great. But most of us, I mean, we're horrified by, oh my God, I would never make that mistake again. And oh, look at that cut. And why didn't I go to a close-up?
It got me crazy. There was one shot that the framing was awful. That no. But right. 2. I would say two before the feature.
Yeah, and then you write and direct your films, correct?
Yeah.
And you did Bon Appetit. So that one was that was a interesting. Like, I kind of like at first when I went in there and they're like, "Hey, do you want some meat?" I was like, "Ooh, I think I know where this could go."
Yeah.
But so what made you come up with that idea? And can you just tell us what the story's about and then how you came up with the idea?
Absolutely. Well, the story is about this young lady called Kate who goes visit her best friend Emma for her birthday. There might be unexpected consequences because Emma always told her not to go to her house. The idea for this short film, I think at that point I was just very obsessed with Hannibal Lecter.
Right? Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of explore a little bit of horror and also comedy, which I never did, I wanted to explore this world just to see if it could turn out good, and just something totally different. I when I write, I love just listening to soundtracks of amazing movies, and then I try my mind to go somewhere.
When they were down in the cellar, I was like, oh, God, that's scary. Like, nothing good is going to come of that.
Oh, no. And that's the worst.
So,
imagine you want to go visit your friend and then you don't know why she's never invited you. It was because your parents are carnivores.
Right. But also that you're not even going to save me. Like,
exactly,
you kind of just let it all happen. Like,
yeah, too late.
Yeah, see, reevaluate your friendships, right?
Yeah, be careful.
Yes. But I thought that was, it was very interesting, and I love where it was going. And then when it went down to the cellar, and just like the art direction was really good too.
Oh, yeah. They did so good.
What was down there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I take it you probably fund your own films. So how did you find your crew? And your dad was in that as well. How do you go about the funding of doing your films, making them happen?
Well, we for the other one for our feature we did private equity from Venezuela, so private investors, and that was possible because of Greene and Selma.
So how long did it take you from thinking up the idea to actually being able to film it?
5 years. From
5
2015,
years.
Yeah, 2015 to 18. Well, no. 15, 16, 17, 18, 4.
It's amazing because a lot of times you don't realize how long it takes to make a film. We just think, oh, wow, it just happens so quick. But sometimes it's a process of, you got to write it and then you have to fund it and all that stuff. So
the second we started writing this, I was like, oh, next year. No.
How long did it take you to actually write the film?
2 years, I think. Yeah. 2 years.
And then your dad just came out for a period of time to film it.
Yes.
On all of your films.
Yeah, exactly. Every time he thankfully, I see him very often, But for all the films, he comes to LA, for a few months and then he leaves.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great that he has the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. No. We're very lucky to have that opportunity for sure. Yeah.
You have to have a great relationship with your dad. I mean, don't you both own a production company, Path of Thorns Entertainment? Tell me a little bit about your relationship with your dad.
The relationship with my dad is great. It's just, we get along super well, thank God. And we're both very passionate. So we decided to do a production company to continue doing our features together,
So how was it directing your dad?
Directing my father, it was the best experience ever, because he's a very good listener and he respects what I say. And it's not like we clashed or anything when I was trying to give him a direction. He always followed my advice, and if he has an opinion, I'm also willing to hear what he has to say, Yeah, our dynamic was incredible on set, and even as producer, writers, every step of the way, obviously there's sometimes that you get mad at each other, but for us it's like 5 minutes after we're like, okay, that was silly, and then we just move on and continue working because this is our future and this is our production company, so we really have to put each other as heads of this production company and really take a responsibility as producers.
So are you wanting to only direct your own films, or are you looking for directing opportunities of other people's films?
Oh, directing opportunities for sure. Yeah. I'm willing to do anything. No, for sure, because I think it's important for you to collaborate with other people, to expand yourself and listen to other people, like, opinions, and collaborate with different people. It's gonna make you grow, as a director, I think. I just like writing my own stuff because, there's a certain style of films I love.
So you're working on a couple other projects right now, aren't you? You're in writing development?
Yes.
At this point?
We're in writing development, and I'm also doing, I'm in the process of doing the writing and also doing the pitch decks and stuff like that to see when we can get funding, because we want to try to do kind of like a package of films find funding that way for the development and for the rest.
And then can you tell us a little bit about the films or the scripts, like the idea?
Very, very similar in genre. One is a psychological thriller. The other one is, I'm calling it a psychological drama / body horror. And yeah. And the other one is just horror. So we have 3. One horror, one psychological thriller, and the other one's a drama with hints of body horror. Yeah.
So how do you go about like writing? I mean, you're coming up with all these different ideas. I mean, do you write every day and then do you switch between scripts, or do you focus on one and then finish it and then you have another idea and you put it in your little journal or something and then do that? What's your writing process?
Well, my writing process, I would say, it depends on the day. I always try to write every day, no matter what. Even if it's just one sentence, I don't care. Or just read it a couple of times until I try to write something or fix something. What I try to do is sometimes either morning is one project and then afternoon is another one, or, it depends on the times, because sometimes I cannot do that, right, the whole day.
Right.
Yeah. But what I try to do mostly is just focus on one project at first and then move on to the next one until, like, for example, we're just finishing now. We did a beat sheet and treatment that we finished before, like in August, and then we stopped that, and then we're doing the treatment of a new one that we're gonna finish hopefully by the end of the week.
Yeah, when you're writing, so are these you're co-writing with your father?
Yeah.
And then how is that process of collaboration? I mean, are you like kind of the sole writer, so you're writing the script, or are you both writing and then you're kind of merging it?
We're both writing and merging, yeah. We just share screen, and we both write. Yes.
So are you doing this at the same time? So you'll get on Zoom and then you'll write together, or do you ever write without each other?
We write with each other most of the time. And then maybe on the weekends, if we cannot see each other, someone writes something and then we share it, I think that works for us a lot. So we're in the same page at the same time right away. But maybe it could also work if he writes a little bit and then I see. But then I think it's good if we both write it, because we're like together all the time from beginning to end. And there's no confusion, and you see what they're trying to talk to you about the idea, Yeah.
No, I think that is so cool to have somebody, well, one, that you like. And 2 is that, you get to collaborate with somebody then, because writing can be very daunting and, you're alone a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And to find the motivation to keep going, sometimes I can see where people just hit a wall and then just can't get back up or something. But I think that when you're writing with somebody, then you get that energy that when you might be like a little bit like, oh, I can't think of anything, the other one's chiming in and then keeping the flow going, and then vice versa.
Oh, yeah. I love having a writing partner, believe me. because, I've had those times where I'm like, I have no energy. I don't want to, like, I don't know what to write. But then he does have the ideas, and then he motivates me with one idea, and then my bulb, like, turns on. So it's always, writing by yourself is tough. It's 100% tough. Like, people that do it by themselves, bravo, because I think, and also it gives you discipline to have like a writing partner, because you're like, every day at this time, we gotta write, and there's no excuse, and we don't put excuses, and we just show up no matter what. So I think that's good to have accountability as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a time difference, isn't there?
Between... 3-4 hours more over there. So he's always the one that sleeps super late.
Both have to have other jobs to pay the bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like working around that.
Exactly. Sometimes we work either in the morning because he has some time in the afternoon, or sometimes we do it late at night because Exactly. It depends. It depends. It depends on the schedule. Yeah. So it's like a 4 hour in the morning or at night. Yeah.
Is the big dream is to solely direct? I mean, do you act at all, or you're just strictly a director?
Director.
Writer,
director, produce. Yeah. Yeah. Even show running one day, TV. I also want to get into TV directing as well. It's kind of like a good muscle to have to be directing in TV, because I know you're like not the one in control, but you still like trying to follow the showrunner's vision. I think that's really good for you to try to implement as a director, to try and help the other person with their vision. So yeah, I mainly want to direct because I think that's what gives me the most like joy, I feel working with actors is my favorite thing, and having all these people help you and trying to come up with, with this vision all together and all the elements, like working with the composers, the editors, and then all the team. It's just the best.
So do you have any tips for directors up and coming that have only been doing shorts and now want to get into their first feature? Do you have any tips for them in what you've learned that you would say, okay, these are some things that I would think about before you start shooting?
Before you start shooting? Well, I would definitely be prepared as much as possible with your beats, your directing beats for the actors, and shot lists, floor plans. All of that is very important. Recently, I learned something from a directing actors class, which I was like, wait, did I not learn this before my feature? Because I used to, when do you know what the directing beats are? So basically, you want to tell the objective and the intention for the actor. And I used to have this huge binder on set where I had like 2 pages or 3 pages of notes for the actors only, And I just took this class where the teacher, her name is Tessa. Well, it's like basically putting everything but like super small, everything in one page, but like super simple. And I think that's definitely a thing that I would recommend all directors to do, just to put your directing beats all in one page, very specific, like really dig deep on what you want to try to convey to the actor. So you only have it in one page because you don't have time on set to look through 3 pages of notes when you have time and the shots have to be super quick, like the time is so limited. That would be my first recommendation. The directing beats all in one page, and your directing binder like super prepared. Pre-production is the most important. So be so prepared because you're going to have 100 problems on set. 100 or more. Right. And what else I could suggest? Well, watch a lot of movies. Yeah, because I think that's the only way that you can get inspired by doing your own stuff, and experiencing life. And before your first feature, yeah, be prepared, be confident. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not good enough for anything, because if you know your story, you're going to make it happen, and you just have to believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself and don't listen to anyone.
And don't let anybody get you down.
Yeah, don't. Because you did this story for a reason. And if you believe it, right, someone else will. What other? Well, just get a good team of people that are going to support you. That's the biggest one.
Just going back to what you had shared at the beginning, do you feel like if you had sat them down and maybe had lunch or coffee and really got to know them, that you would have picked up that and maybe hired somebody else? Or how do you identify or figure out that these are not the right people to probably...
Yeah, to see if you click, and to see how much they talk to you about the projects and how passionate they are to bring the story, But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe even if you go to lunch, you will never know until you're on set. So
I think it's also word of mouth. Once you build your crew or you start working on more sets and stuff, then you start to get to know people. And then when you respect and like people, then you can ask them for recommendations. Who do they?
Exactly.
Because we all have worked on sets and say, I would never hire that person, or I would definitely hire this person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great comment. Yeah. Go with people that people you trust recommend.
Right. But most of the time, I think that when you're building your team, part of it is figuring out, and especially if you work on a lot of sets, again, that's why it's so great to work on sets in between other projects, is because you're meeting people. That's your networking.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it's easy networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess joining groups and stuff that might, give you some recommendations too. Thanks again for being on the show. This was really insightful and wonderful. That it's always interesting to hear about, when you're doing your directorial debut. I mean, how nervous, scary, but also exciting, and to share tips for other people.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tati.
Thank you so much for listening. I encourage you to get out there and make a film. Reach out to your local filmmakers group to get involved and connect. Please subscribe to the show if you like it, and follow me on Instagram @TammyMcGarrow. Until we meet again, what's your story?